Right, if we just start with squad fitness, how's everyone recovered from Cardiff?
What do we have? We have Gabe suffered. Gabriel Forsyth suffered a knee injury where he will not be available for the squad tomorrow. And we will scan him tomorrow and see what it is. We hope that it's nothing too serious, but he will not be available for the squad.
So no idea yet, really, of the sort of time scale.
No, he had this knock or this situation just before halftime, a couple of minutes before that, where he felt sore when he came in halftime, and we did everything we could to just keep it warm and make sure that he could play just a little bit in second half with that pain. But then, after the game, he felt it, and obviously we have to look into what it is.
How big a blow is that for him? Obviously, his first away start in the Championship. Did fairly well. He must be pretty disappointed to have got an injury at this point.
I think he is also, because he can see that now the opportunity is there, the chance for him is there now. So of course it's not something that anyone will ever hope for. But we hope it's nothing too serious, and he can be back again soon. But we have some answers again tomorrow.
And everyone else come through fine.
Yeah.
Do you know anything more about the severity of Josh Sargent's injury, or is it still sort of where we were on Saturday?
No, it's gonna require surgery, so we're talking 8 weeks here.
Yeah. How big a blow is that for you?
It's of course not the ideal situation for anyone, but again we look at the possibilities. We look at the options and we look at what we can do, and then shape especially the offensive part of the team a little bit different maybe, and again it gives options or possibilities for some of the other ones.
Would you consider, or are you already considering January and maybe entering the market, given that I know maybe you want to avoid the transfer questions at this point, but
but it's not important for me to have a think about that at this part of the season, because I think without knowing, I think that there will at least be 12 to 15 games before that, so it's not something that can help us for now. At the moment, we are, of course, a little bit busy finding solutions and see if we can recover as many players as possible, because of course we are low on numbers, but that's a part of the game, and we have to make sure that we find the best possible solutions.
In terms of those other players who were out, sort of Gunny, Nunez, are you expecting all of those back after the international break?
We hope so. I think everything goes according to the plan. So Nunez is feeling good. Like I said last week, it's also a matter for us of still being a little bit careful with him and not doing anything that is too risky. But of course we also need him. But he's doing well in the recovery at the moment, and I think we can expect him to be available for squad selection. If not the first one, then hopefully the second game after the break.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned how maybe you need to sort of make certain changes and the attack looks a little bit different. I remember when you signed Sienats that you said he was sort of a different sort of option, and you wanted somebody who offered something different to Josh. But now that you've got him in the team, does that mean you have to actually adapt to your sort of tactical setup to suit him?
We have to adapt everything, because we have to adapt at where we are as a team and what kind of players that are available, and I think the biggest task we have is to find the best possible position for the player, so he feel that he can bring his personality and his qualities into that position. And I think that's something we have to look at. Of course, we are, as everyone can see, maybe a little bit low on midfielders at the moment, so that's also why we have to come up with other solutions, other ideas. So it is kind of a puzzle, but still there's some interesting players coming in and having some minutes now. Now we just talked about Gabriel playing his first minutes as a starter away from home, and it's interesting for him. It's interesting for us to see some of these players taking the next step in their career, which is also what we're here for.
Yeah, I suppose given you've got this long-term focus as well as the game-to-game one, it's good to see those players who probably in future you want to be regular starters getting that opportunity to impress.
I think what he showed in the minutes he played the other day was that he's ready, and he will definitely fight for his chance. Of course, there's still a way for him to go if we compare him to Kenny or Nacho or some of the more experienced and and you know, our high quality players. But I think I have an ambition on behalf of him, and I think he shared the same vision that he at some point in his time here in Norwich he will be there, and he will have that quality, and he will bring that quality to the team. So it's important. Of course, don't get me wrong. It's never ideal to be in the situation that we are in at the moment with so many key players out of the lineup. And I think every team in the league will suffer a little bit from that. But we try our best, and what is good for us long term is that we can give the chances to some of the younger players.
Does it make things feel a little bit better in that midfield dynamic, the fact that Oscar Schwartau seems to be improving sort of week by week?
Yeah, he is, and again, a player where we actually didn't expect that he will be playing so much for us to begin with. You know, this first season we expected would be for him just to find his role here in the club, to start developing in the championship and with the team, and then maybe in second season be ready to really compete for his position in the team and having regular starters. But now he's in there, and I think he's doing well, and I think a lot of the young ones have been doing really well. So I think that's also what we can expect to see tomorrow. Only thing, of course, when you play with a very young team, there will always be these bumps on the road. That's natural.
I suppose another one you'll be considering in the midfield will be a man called Forson, who obviously started really well. I remember after Oxford you saying it was a decision almost to start him a few days after he'd signed. But a couple of tough moments against Cardiff again, and it feels like he's maybe lost a little bit of confidence. Yeah,
I think it's fair to say, and I think we have to. Again, we've had a lot of talks with him, and there's a lot of support to him. But I think he's feeling it's a little bit difficult for him at the moment, and I think it actually came after that injury he suffered against Crystal Palace in the cup, and then when he was back on again, his own goal happened against Swansea after just a couple of minutes into that game, and I think that was a tough start for a player just travelling and playing football in another country, in another culture, with new teammates, and completely new environment. I think that's been a lot for him to take. So we support him the best possible way, and also make him sure that he's an important part of the team, and he will definitely be. But you know, in this industry where we think so much about the next game, it's also important sometimes to have in mind that not everything is about that next game.
Yeah. I suppose for him, the solution would maybe be playing himself out of this form, but does that make it even more difficult? Because obviously when someone's out of form, it's difficult to start them all the time, but you want them to get those minutes to improve.
Yeah, it is, and of course, if you look at the squad right now, it would be ideal for everyone that he was in form. But the case is that that's not where he is, and we have to support him the best possible way. And he's training well every day, and he's dealing with the situation, and I think which is natural again to see when a young player he changed environment and country and culture and everything, that maybe there will be some ups to begin with, and then everything becomes reality back again, and then we have to build him up again. So hopefully it will not take too much time, but you never know.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about a couple of those other players who've maybe been on the fringes in the last few weeks. One of them's Ben Cresene. Does it feel like he's maybe even been a little bit unlucky to have somebody as good as Callum Doyle in front of him?
Yeah, and again, that's how it is, and there's no what can you say? There's no wildcards in a team like this, and I think what we try to build here is that we have competition on every position. Of course, the moment now is a little bit different, but hopefully when we look on the backside of the national break again here, most of the guys will be fit and we'll be back in again, and then there will definitely be competition. And then it's about taking your chances when you get them. And I think it's fair to say that Ben started well for us, and maybe also had a little bit drop in performance level and maybe also confidence, which is fair. But he needs to make sure that he can build it up again and show confidence when he's on again. But because he's competing against some good players.
On the other side, you got Jack Stacey, who nearly scored to make it 2-0 the other day. How pleased have you been with his attitude, even though he's now dropped out of the starting 11? I
cannot put a finger on Jack and say anything critical about him, because he's training on a very high level every day. And again, as everyone knows, it can go so quick in one direction or another. There can also be tactical choices why we prefer another type of player for a certain match. You never know. The only thing you can do as a player when you're not in is to make sure that you are ready when you are given the chance. And I think what he shows is that he is ready. And then of course, Kellen is performing well in that position and has been doing well and consistently also doing well. So it's been also tough for Jack, I think, to be honest. And I think it's not a situation that he expected when the season started. But sometimes that's how quick it can go. But you have to flip it and see it from the other side and see, okay, how quick it went in that direction. It can also be the other direction in the same kind of speed. So you just have to stay fit.
Do you think he's capable of playing that inverted role, or does he have to wait until you want something different tactically?
Yeah, but like again, we can easily shape the team so it benefits the players that we have, and we can easily find solutions where he can be in the positions that is best for him. So we can play with a low drop in midfield on that side and then push Jack up on the right side. That's fine for us. So I think though, what's most important for us is that he just shows that high level every day, especially in training, and then of course also when he gets the minutes. So there is a real competition, which there is, but we have chosen Kellen because I think he's doing really well.
Yeah, just on the last of those sorts of players, I wanted to ask you about Grant Hanley, who obviously hasn't started for a long while for your team. Has that been pretty difficult for him, or is he still a big part of your group? I suppose both, probably.
He's a big part in terms of leadership because he's a great person and he's really, really good for the club and for the environment that we have here, and he's a great leader in terms of that. But I think it's fair to say that it's tough for him to be out of the team, and I think there's two ways to look at it. He also sees two players performing on a good level, so we can see, okay, there's it will maybe not be overnight, I'll be back in the team again. And then also because of his history in this club, where he's been here for so many years, he have done so well for the club. So of course that can be a different situation to be in. But I think he's doing everything he can, and I think he's great for the team also on game days where he's doing everything he can to support the teammates. But I think from a playing perspective, it's difficult for him.
Is he someone who's keen to learn why he isn't in the team, or is he more just puts his head down and works hard to try and get back into it?
It's both ways, and we try to do our best. I spoke to him the other day and said, the situation is as it is, and I have chosen two other players for the moment. That can change, of course, but there's no guarantees, and it can also continue like this for a big part of the season. You never know, but we spoke a lot, and I know that Glenn and Grant is talking a lot, and I know that Glenn is giving him feedback on his performances, and what we can use at the moment is his Scotland performances. So I know they went through some details in the games he played for Scotland. So we still try with everything we can to keep them as sharp as possible and to give them feedback and to make sure that they at least feel that they are a big part of the team, because that's important.
Yeah, if we move on to Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow, what sort of test are you expecting from them?
It's going to be a big test for us, and I think that's the reason why I think everyone was so disappointed with the result in Cardiff the other day, because with the situation we are in at the moment, and then the guys doing so well for 75-80 minutes, who would have 3 games ago expected that we would play with Gabriel Forsyth and Lungi on midfield in Cardiff, but they did so well, the two of them, and that's why I think it was a big disappointment for everyone, because we were so close to not reach the perfect performance, but at least in the circumstances that we're in, as close to perfect as possible. So what we expect for tomorrow is going to be another tough one. It's going to be another one where we have to do our best and where we have to defend really, really well when we have to defend, but again also to show what we're made of and to have these good moments in the game. And I think, or at least we try to pull all the positive stuff out of the game in Cardiff and see if we can use that tomorrow night. Tactically,
what sort of team are Sheffield Wednesday? Are they completely different to Cardiff, or is it quite a similar one?
Yeah, they are, because they're pressing a little bit higher. They're a little bit more man for man in their press. I think similarities in the way that they built the game, where Cardiff was quite vertical and tried to play one side, overlapping situations to put in crosses, and I think Sheffield will do the same with their wing backs, which we of course have to be aware of, and especially the area around the second post we have to be aware of, because that late run in from a wing back position can sometimes be a little bit tricky to cover defensively. That's something we try to be aware of and try to be prepared for. a physical, strong side, and they will definitely put in a tough fight for us.
Yeah, obviously you went to that back 3, back 5 late in that Cardiff game, and a lot of people will feel like that's how maybe at the moment you can get your best players on the pitch. But you spoke earlier about the fact that you can't just focus on the next game. Is it for you about balancing sort of long term, the players learning your principles and your style of football alongside game to game, going with the right setup to win the game?
It's always a balance, because we have, like I've said many times now, we have to still have the results with us while we are building something. I'm pleased with some of the good performances that we have made so far this season. I'm pleased with some of the results that we have done so far this season. But there's still room for improvement. But I think at the moment and the next couple of games, it's for us to, maybe not to go too far in our development as a team, and maybe not take a step back, but stay where we are and make sure that everyone is comfortable in what they're doing. Because we didn't expect Lungi to be able to go 75 minutes in Cardiff. It was 60 minutes maximum, but he wanted to push and he wanted to do extra because he could see that the team needed it. We didn't expect that Gabriel will start that game, but he did so well, and there was many other positions where that was not in our plans, and maybe was not in our plans 3 weeks ago. So we have to see where the squad is at the moment, and make sure that we support them the best possible way, because I don't expect that tomorrow will be perfect for us. I expect that we have to come with all we have and make sure that we put in the best possible performance. I think that's where we are as a team now.
Yeah, on Lungi, do you think he could start again tomorrow? Has he got the fitness to do that?
I think he needs to. Yeah. I don't think it's a real question. And also talking about 5-back lines, we actually planned it already for halftime in Cardiff, because we didn't really have any other options. And what we can see at the moment is that in terms of availability, we have more centre backs available, we have more full backs available. So a system where there's more centre backs or full backs involved is maybe what we have to do at the moment. Even though it can be that we prefer actually something else or something different, but we don't have many available midfielders, which was also the reason why Callum Doyle played as a 6 towards the end in Cardiff, because there's no other options. So like I said, I'm pleased with the performance in Cardiff, because that was such a difficult one for us. It will be tomorrow, but hopefully we can take out the good stuff from Cardiff and bring it on.
Yeah, just finally, I wanted to ask you about Borja Sainz, and I promise I'm not going to ask for any more praise for him. I'm sure you've got used to those questions. But in terms of his contract, I think he's only got about 1.5 years left now. Obviously, he's one of those who already is looking like quite a high value player for you. Is that something you're thinking about, or Ben's thinking about?
I hope Ben is thinking about it, and I know he is. I'm not thinking about it. I never treat players in terms of how their contract is, whether that's salary or length of it. It's just important they are doing whatever they can in training and doing whatever they can in matches, and it's the same with Borja. So we treat him like, if I have to treat them in some way, then I treat them like they're here on 15 years contracts. So that's how we're gonna do with him. He's of course doing well, and I think what we can see now, and which I will also expect for him and from him tomorrow, is that now, with some of the natural leaders being out of the team, he could take another step in his development as a player, where he now needs to be one of the leaders in there, which is not normal for him. Yeah. I think if you look at the amount of times he played 90 minutes so far this season, it's close to what he did last season. So he's already now taken that step. So let's see if we can not push him too much, but see if we can take just another step in his development.
Thanks, Johannes.
Thanks, Sam.